now. Remember, school has returned to, school has actually reopened, and physical classrooms are actually open for the new term, and students are still using their devices, whether it is to access entertainment or any form of education, and so they may be open to something known as child pornography. And so joining me in studio to talk about child pornography and how you as parents can protect your children from this is Inspector Christopher Aroon from the Special Victims Department. Inspector, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Now, Inspector, first of all, let's get a definition for what child pornography is. What is child pornography?
Right. So child pornography means a picture, a film, a video, any form of artistic representation that shows sexual explicit content. It's for a sexual purpose. So a child in a sexually explicit pose, a child engaged in sexual explicit activity or conduct. Child pornography is also where you may have child's body parts pasted onto body parts of an adult or vice versa. Or it's a computer-generated image that's completed by programs on a computer that would show parts of a child or the entire child in a sexually explicit position or activity.
Now, are there laws governing the child pornography locally?
Yes, under the Children's Act, Chapter 4601, Section 40 to 43, specifically speaks to child pornography. What is child pornography? What are the offenses of child pornography? So Section 40 would speak to different types of child pornography: possession, transmission, publishing, exchanging, purchasing, selling child pornography. Section 41 speaks to inciting a child, encouraging a child to engage in child pornography.
Right. And if someone is charged under any of those offenses, what are some of the convictions that they may face?
Well, in the case of child pornography, possession and distribution and publishing and those areas associated with child pornography, Section 40 indicates that the maximum penalty in Trinidad is a fine of $30,000 and imprisonment to 10 years. Yeah, that's for the...
That's how it is.
Yeah, Section 40.
Right. Now, let's look at the kind of gray area, right? Because we have a case, of course, that's trending now. And one of the arguments that the defense is making is that his client would have gone on a site that would have downloaded pictures to the camera roll. Is this some sort of excuse that people often use to say, well, or almost to get away from the fact that they may have engaged in child pornography?
Well, firstly, in that specific matter, we are aware of the matter, but I have to be reserved in my comments concerning that specific matter. In general, we don't actually get these type of defenses in terms of persons in possession of child pornography.
So if somebody comes to, for example, if an accused comes and they are accused of child pornography, it is because they may have downloaded it or it was in their possession for them to be charged?
Yes, in most cases that we've seen, it is because they themselves have it in their possession on a device. It might be a published device, like a book or a magazine or pictures, it's videos, it's downloaded on their devices, and we take possession of those.
Right. And in terms of those children, because could children be charged under this act?
Yes, of course, because we often have reports where children themselves exchange photos of themselves with their significant other, what we call boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, and they end up inadvertently sharing these pictures, or they purposefully share the pictures of themselves in the nude. And to be honest, it is child pornography because they are minors, and it is naked pictures, and they share it with themselves, and they are committing an offense, and they can be charged.
With the same, is it 30,000?
Yes,
wow.
Of course. So that's the maximum penalty in terms of possession and distribution and transmitting, because they're transmitting it. But there are other offenses under the section that caters to possession of pornography, not child pornography, but exposing children to pornography, and that carries a penalty between, if it's a summary offense, If they are charged summarily before a magistrate's court, the penalty is $5,000 and 9 months imprisonment. If they are charged on indictment, meaning it is a high court matter, they can be charged the $30,000 or 5 years imprisonment.
So there are two different types, basically. There's one where you are in possession of it, you're sharing it, but there's one where you're exposing a minor to it?
To it, yes.
Okay.
So you have Section 40 that speaks to the possession and transmission, the distribution, the publishing.
Right.
Section 41 speaks to the child pornography, exposing a minor to to pornography, whether it be child or adult. And then Section 42 speaks to inciting a child or encouraging a child to perform child pornography.
Right. Now, at the Special Victims Department, Inspector, how many cases do you see of child pornography, let's say, for the year?
Well, I don't have the actual stats with me. I wasn't prepared to have that to get that information. But working at the head office at St. Clair Police Station, we often see there's a manageable amount. It's not a great number, but there's some that comes in often.
And in terms of the Special Victims Department, what departments fall under that unit?
Right, so it's an amalgamation, sorry. It was created in 2022, where the Child Protection Unit, which was created in 2015, the Gender-Based Unit that was created in 2020, and the Sexual Offences Unit in 2021 have been brought together under one head in the TTPS called the Special Victims Department. And it's based, the head office is based at St. Clair Police Station on Serpentine Road. And because of the 9 policing divisions from Tobago and throughout the country, we have 9 divisions as well that cater to special victims.
Now, going back to the child pornography issue, because I'm wondering how can parents almost sort of protect their children from child pornography or even being in possession of these photos and then sharing it?
Right, so that in itself is an issue that arises often, where children become in possession of these explicit videos, content of social media, from websites, from the web browsers. So we've had cases where children inadvertently get pop-ups, and we need parents to understand that children are children, and they would often be curious about these things. Parents can take the precautionary measures. They can download applications that block these sites. They can also monitor their children's devices, go into the history. Parents now have to become a bit more technologically savvy.
Yes.
And monitor these devices, because children have the ability to hide these sources, whether it be a website, some application
like
on their
proxy
devices.
server even, yes.
Proxy server, yes. Because we have had cases like that.
So is it as simple as a parent pairing their device to their child's device to see what sort of content they're actually looking at?
Yes, they can do that, yes. They can pair their devices. They can actually take the device and monitor it, because children are now a lot more intelligent, I would want to say, in those areas of technology than our parents, than us ourselves. So we need to come up to scratch, if I could use that word, in terms of technology. We need to get into that device. We need to see what applications they're using. We need to know what our children are looking at times. We need to see who they're liaising with on social media, because, as I said, we have cases, a number of cases, that often come up where children take pictures of themselves and exchange it with their boyfriend, their girlfriend, and whatnot. And that in itself is an offense. And they end up making a report, look, this is happening, my child is this. So we get in. We engage the Children's Authority, we engage cybercrime. We have to get in with the investigation.
Yeah.
And we have to talk to parents, well, you need to listen, you need to monitor these devices more often.
Because I'm glad that you mentioned cybercrime, because I was just about to ask, I mean, we have seen it happen with adults, so I believe it's happening with children as well. When the relationship ended, it ended on bad terms, and whoever has the picture shares it, and so that's a form of cyberbullying as well.
Of course, yes. I wouldn't understand, I don't understand why adults would take pictures of themselves and exchange with their significant other on good terms. Because when the bad terms or the bad times come around, they end up releasing it. And we have had case law in the past where the person, they weren't able to successfully convict on criminal charges, and they had to pursue civil action in the court, and they were successful. I remember in the past there was one involving a prominent person in society, and the victim, she was awarded some money.
Right.
So you have cases like that, and then, you know, with the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, they end on bad terms. Then there are persons, you might be in a relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they want to show somebody else, and they
Yes.
expose your pictures and your videos to other persons.
And finally, Inspector, can child pornography be seen as a form of sexual abuse?
Yes, it can, because it depends on the context. So you may be forced or coerced to perform child pornography. And then there are cases like we spoke about with the boyfriend-girlfriend. So in that context, you have a mutual exchange of pictures, a mutual accepting of the videos and the pictures.
Yes.
And so it's in the context of which it occurred. So in some cases, it would be abuse, and in some
Yes.
cases, it may just be a mutual relationship and an exchange of pictures and
Okay.
videos.
Nice. Well, Inspector Aroon, let me thank you so much for
Thanks.
coming in and just sharing this information with
Yeah.
us. It is a very, very tricky situation. Of course, we know children are going back out to school, but remember that they are still using those devices. So thank you
Yes,
so much
thanks
for all your
having me.
tips.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Of course.
Yes.
And that was Inspector Christopher Aroon from the Special Victims Department, just sharing some important information about child pornography. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Stay with us.